If you've spent much time traversing the lands of Azeroth, you might be familiar with the Old Gods, nightmarish villains of the Warcraft universe. Like something from the world of H.P. Lovecraft, the Old Gods of Azeroth are powerful creatures, which grow like cysts inside planets, infecting everything nearby with their corruption. From the southern deserts where Cthulhu lies within Anchorage, to the snowy northern peaks protecting Ulduar, the prison of Yogg-Saron, the Old Gods are a major force of evil on Azeroth. But what if I told you that one of these ancient horrors could be found far from Azeroth, on another planet no less, and yet can still be encountered by players to this day? This is the theory of the Old God of Outland. Let's begin by traveling through the Dark Portal into the surreal landscapes of Outland, the broken remnants of the planet Draenor. Destroyed decades ago by demonic energy, Draenor now exists as a crumbling collection of zones floating in the twisting nether. Today's journey takes us to the epicenter of this disaster, Shadowmoon Valley, once a tranquil land now blackened with ash and coated in fell lava. Many factions vie for control of this region, located at the doorstep of the infamous Black Temple, a major raid. In their journey, players may come across Parsha, an Arakoa outcast who deserted his brethren many years ago before his conclave was destroyed by the orc warlock Gul'dan. The Skethlon ruins in the north and south of the zone are the only remains of their culture here, now populated by malevolent ghosts of the Arakoa priests now infused with dark powers. Parsha wants to put these spirits to rest, not only to give them peace, but also to stop a vile ritual that the reanimated followers carry on in death. During the last step of the quest line, players travel to the Skethlon base camp with an enchanted staff to end this ritual, and what can be discovered there is frightening. A writhing mass of eyes and tentacles is rising from one of the fell lava pools, and the ghostly priests are working to bring the organism fully into Outland. To state the obvious, this creature bears a striking resemblance to the old god Cthulhu back on Azeroth, with it even sharing the same creature model. While the information in-game only refers to this as an ancient and powerful evil, I think the evidence clearly points to this thing being an unnamed old god, or at least part of one. Blizzard's own creative development team, along with Chris Metzen, confirmed the following specifically in relation to this quest. There are more old gods than just the ones trapped on Azeroth, but it takes a lot for them to become manifested on a physical plane. So there we have it. Case closed, right? Well, not exactly. We know this is, in fact, an extraterrestrial old god. However, there are differing interpretations on where this creature is being summoned from. This is where the lore theory comes in. One could speculate this old god is coming from somewhere out in the Nether or the Void, similar to how demons can be summoned through portals, but I think there is a more satisfying answer to be found. If we were to reference Azeroth's old gods again, you'll notice there are usually signs of corruption and influence surrounding the area where they have taken root. In Anchorage, for example, there are the Silithid armies bound to Cthulhu, not to mention the large hives consuming much of the temple city. In Northrend, the reach of Yogg-Saron is vast, and its influence can be seen in the mineral serenite, which drives people insane, along with the corrupted oozlings deep below the Grizzly Hills. This doesn't mean that Yogg-Saron is necessarily a giant squid living underneath the entire continent, and I think it's definitely more of a presence that old gods can spread underground over time apart from their physical forms. In my opinion, this is the case for our unknown old god. It actually exists within the planet of Draenor, now Outland, and was actively working with the corrupted Arakoa to rise to power at the surface. Let's now examine a few more pieces of evidence. In Shadowmoon Valley, in the southeast corner, sits Netherwing Ledge, an island floating in the Nether. Venturing into the Netherwing mines, players can encounter none other than oozes that bear a striking resemblance to those in Northrend. Not only that, they are called the Black Blood of Draenor, another parallel to Azeroth, with Serenite ore sometimes being referred to as the Black Blood of Yogg-Saron. This mob, along with its location on an outer island detached from the rest of the continent, supports the idea that Draenor hosted an old god presence long before the Netherwing Ledge broke off. In relation to the servants of this old god, apart from the priests, look no further than the Rock Flayers, a type of strange creature native to Outland. These half-reptilian, half-insect beasts look rather similar to the insectoid Silithid who serve Cthulhu, and they also have another strange characteristic. According to quest text, Rock Flayers have specialized glands that allow them to control another of Outland's aggressive species, the Ravagers. Again, it's difficult to ignore the scaly insectoid resemblance of these beasts to the Silithid, and this relationship hierarchy seems to call back to the caste system of Ahn'Qiraj, with the workers and tunnelers serving the more sophisticated types of bugs. Also, it just so happens that Rock Flayers and Ravagers can also be found inside the overrun Netherwing mine where the oozes are found, perhaps giving us another clue. With all this in mind, it's easy to ask yourself, why doesn't this old god have more power on Outland? Well, it's hard to say for certain, but there are probably a combination of factors as to why our lava pool friend doesn't quite match up with the likes of Cthulhu. My leading idea is that the old god may not have been on Draenor for a cosmically long time, meaning it could still be in the early stages of building up its empire. This could explain why there is little physical evidence even in the time travel version of Draenor, perhaps except for the Shadowmoon burial fields, a void-corrupted area located suspiciously close to where the old god is being summoned in the current Outland. My other potential theory traces back to the Arcatraz, where a surprising prisoner can be found at the end of the dungeon, Harbinger Skyrys. This scarab prophet is the only one of its kind to appear outside of Ahn'Qiraj, and possesses similar abilities to the prophet Skaram that watches over the entrance to Cthulhu's lair. It is unknown where the Naaru captured this being, whether Azeroth, Draenor, or another planet entirely. While we can't say for sure, perhaps Skyrys was originally supposed to serve as the leader of our unnamed old god's forces here on Draenor, but was captured by the Naaru and is kept locked away in a high containment cell, hampering its rise to dominance. This break in the chain of command could explain why our old god has not ascended to a more prominent position on Outland, and why the Rock Flayers and Ravagers seem more like independent colonies of creatures instead of a united army. That is all the evidence I was able to compile for this lore theory, and I think it holds up pretty well, but let me know if I forgot anything down in the comments. Whatever was being planned by this hidden old god, you as the player are thankfully able to put a stop to it, but who knows what sort of dark power might still linger within Outland to this day. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, may the Force be with you.